we'll be looking at the therapeutic significance of Hatha Yoga as an applied wisdom for a yoga therapist. Because Hatha Yoga, it's such a vast science. It is one of the paths, one of the streams of yoga, which needs to be handled with care. तो इसीलिए थोड़ा सा जो भी हमको पता है हम शेयर कर लेते हैं आप सबके साथ. My Hindi is not too good, but I will try to, in between बीच में जितना भी आता है मैं उतना हिंदी में बोलने के लिए भी प्रयास कर लेती हूँ. So like sir was saying, I'm heading the School of Yoga Therapy, vice principal there of Sri Balaji Vidyapith. So my sincere acknowledgements and thanks to my Guru Anandapal Yogi sir. All that I'll be sharing here is the sources from the Rishi culture, and all that we'll be doing, we'll be sharing is again a dedication to the Parampariya. Right. So yoga, as we all know, the art, the science is a moksha shastra. It is not just how it is अभी आज के दिन में मेरे शेप ठीक रखना है, मेरे वेट ठीक रखना है, इसीलिए आते हैं, राइट. इट इज लाइक अ फॉर्म ऑफ एक्सरसाइज के लिए योग सीखते हैं, और सिखाने के लिए भी ऐसे ही करते हैं कि इट्स बिकमिंग वेरी वेरी फिजिकल. But that is not why yoga came into existence. The art, the science, the philosophy of yoga originally is a moksha shastra, how to attain kaivalya. And that is what yoga is all about. And health and well-being, as we all know, to attain that state. What is health and well-being? Health is something, which is dynamic. It is not stable. जैसे कि हम first rank, you work and then you get the first rank. But once you reach there, what do you have to do? You have to maintain that, you have to sustain that. Otherwise, somebody else will overtake you. So health is something like that. You have to keep constantly working on it. It is not something that you attain and then just give up. It's not like that. So that is why we call it a dynamic state. And it is not just again in the physical level of existence. As you all know, पंच कोश है. तो सारे के सारे levels में हम health and well-being को spread करना है, expand करना है, क्योंकि मन भी है, the lower mind, the higher mind, वो सब आपको पता है. Being yoga therapist, you have basic knowledge of all this. So I'm not going into that. But how everything is interconnected is what we need to keep in mind. As yoga therapists, we need to understand that these are not separate compartments. The body is not separate, the mind is not separate. They are not separate boxes. They are all interlinked. Like, हमारे चेन है ना, चेन में इतने लिंक्स होते हैं. तो हमारे बॉडी, हमारे माइंड, हमारे सोल, ये सब इंटरलिंक्ड है. Each one, anything happening in one aspect is going to influence the others also. तो मन में अगर कुछ चंचल है तो बॉडी में वो अफेक्ट करता है. तो ये सब इंटरलिंक्ड है and influence each other. So that is something that we need to keep on reminding ourselves. So again, the whole thing is, like I said, moksha, to attain kaivalya, the union with the ultimate, the universal self. And what is the best sadhana of achieving higher consciousness is by disciplining our body to attain that state. And that is where Hatha Yoga comes in. So in Garand Samhita, our body, हमारे शरीर, again this may not be new for you. घट एक पॉट के साथ कंपेयर किया गया है. पॉट जैसे कि मिट्टी का ये पॉट है ना, मिट्टी का पॉट में कंपेयर किया गया है. तो क्यों? बिकॉज मिट्टी के पॉट जब बनता है, पॉटर्स व्हील से जब निकालते हैं और नीचे रखते हैं, उसमें अगर कुछ पानी या कुछ भरेंगे, वो होल्ड कर सकता है क्या? नहीं ना, पानी तो नीचे गिर जाएगा. इट इज नॉट fit enough to hold any content inside because it is raw. तो हमारे body भी बहुत raw है, fragile है, soft है. So in order to attain that state of moksha, in order to face our everyday challenges, everything is there that we need to be prepared for all that. So what is preparing us? हमारे शरीर को, हमारे मन को सब prepare करना होता है. So that is where the energy and the heat generated by yoga, all the practices, all the techniques that we do, prepares our body so that it can hold the content. What is the content it is holding? It is our own jiva. So that is what it is holding. So in order that the body, that the physical body, human body, hold that jiva within, that divinity within, we need to have that preparation and that fire of yoga to, be able to attain that state. So her, as you all know, her means the energy of the sun, Surya, Pingala Nadi, the solar energy, the positive energy, the warm, activating energy, जो energy देता है हमको. So right side is often related to the Surya and left side, Hatha, left side is related to the Chandra, the lunar. So solar, lunar. Right is solar, left is lunar. Solar is sun, Surya. Lunar is moon. Moon जैसा दिखता है, अभी तो बाहर जाएंगे तो दिखेंगे ना. Moon कैसा लगता है? Cool, right? Relaxing, de-stressing. So it's all related to the opposite of what we saw in the Surya. Everything is opposite. So in, when we are therapists, the other thing we need to take care of or note down is that the right side is sympathetic and the left side is parasympathetic. तो दोनों को बैलेंस करना है योग के माध्यम से. तो sympathetic means it is activating, parasympathetic means it is relaxing. तो जैसे कि हमारे existence अभी modern world में कैसा है? We are just running, दौड़ भाग, दौड़ो दौड़ो दौड़ो, ट्रेन पकड़ना है, ये करना है, वो करना है, प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीट करना है, ये सब दौड़ 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 दौड़. So we are running often behind whatever it is. So stress is constantly there. So sympathetic overdrive बोलते हैं. So we are overstretched with the sympathetic dominance. So that is why all these psychosomatic disorders come into us. And that is where the yoga therapy is going to work on us. So what do? Because sympathetic is more now, dominating now, we have to increase the parasympathetic so that the balance can be attained. So how do we increase the parasympathetic? With the yogic techniques through the vagal tone. Vagus is the 10th cranial nerve, as you all know, a parasympathetic nerve which runs throughout. So that is kind of like a vagabond. Vagabond is like a gypsy, just keep moving everywhere, right from the brain up to the cranial nerve, 10th cranial nerve, up to your low spine, and so it is connected every place. So Hatha yoga is the yoga of balance. So that is where these two positive and negative energies, equal and opposite energies, very very strong energies. So how do we keep them balanced so that we attain that state of maximum health and wellness? If there is just one aspect dominating, then we lose that state of health. So that is why we always need to be balanced. Samatva, right? Samatvam yoga uchyate. So what is that samatva? Physically, we say the state of homeostasis, where everything, the body functions. Say your temperature, the body temperature goes up. So what do? You sweat, right? हमको sweat आता है, तो what happens? Body cools down. So automatically there is a state of balance that is happening in us. So that is the state, that is the phenomenon of homeostasis in the body. In the mind, again, when there is a lot of disturbance, how do we stay balanced? How do we balance our emotions? State of samatva. That is very, very important. So how are we going to do it? This is like a transformation from what we are, like we were saying, raw clay. It's just mitti jaisa, raw mitti. Abhi bana nahi. So from there to a pot which can hold the content. So it is a huge transformation. It is an evolution, total evolution from where you are, elevation. Whatever you want to call it, you can call it. And how are we going to do it? How are we going to transform all this? By bringing together, by integrating, by harmonizing. So what are you bringing together? Your body, your mind, your emotions, your soul, all are fragmented. Because of various reasons, they are all pulled apart. एक एक तरह जाता है. जैसे कि एक गाड़ी है, बैलगाड़ी, दो बैल है, तो दोनों एक ही साथ में चलना चाहिए. दैट इज व्हेन यू विल रीच द डेस्टिनेशन, है कि नहीं? हाँ, अगर एक ऐसा जाना चाहता है और दूसरा ऐसा जाना चाहता है, तो डेस्टिनेशन कहाँ से पहुंचेगा? इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन. So our body and mind are constantly in a state of fight. Say for example, the alarm bell goes on in the morning. तो हम सब क्या करते हैं? Immediately we tend to snooze it, right? 5 minutes, 10 minutes. नहीं तो अलार्म ऑफ करके हम फिर सोने के लिए प्रयत्न करते हैं. Why? Because the body wants to be lazy, relax for some more time. But what is your mind telling? Mind is telling, get up. You have so many things to do, right? Chalo, chalo, chalo. You have a list of things to do. So, uto, uto, uto. But can you understand there is a small fight happening, a disagreement happening? What the body wants, the mind doesn't agree. What the mind says, the body doesn't want to do. So there is a small fight, disagreement between body and mind happening now. And because of this disagreement, थोड़ा सा वो अलग अलग होने लगता है. तो ऐसे कि this is just one small example. जैसे हमारे जीवन में सारे के सारे एग्जाम्पल्स हम तो बोलते बोलते ही जाएंगे. बट सो इसमें क्या होता है, हमारे एवरीडे लाइफ में, एग्जिस्टेंस में ऐसा फ्रैगमेंट हो जाता है, दोनों अलग अलग हो जाता है, दोनों फाइट करने लगते हैं, डिसएग्रीमेंट. तो उनको वापस एक एग्रीमेंट पे लाना है, वापस जोड़ना है. तो वो कौन करेगा? बाहर से कोई आएगा करने के लिए? नहीं, बिकॉज इट इज योर बॉडी, इट इज योर माइंड, and it is your own breath that is going to bring them together. So breath is what is bridging the body and the mind. Because again koshas में देखिए, अन्नमय कोशा है, मनोमय कोशा है, बीच में क्या है? प्राणमय कोशा है. तो प्राण is what is binding all the koshas together and keeping them integrated, keeping them aligned. Through how are we going to do this? Bring them together through all the techniques that we have in Hatha Yoga. तो ये सब करने से क्या होता है? अवेयरनेस. जो अवेयरनेस होता है वो बिल्कुल भी चाहिए हमको. Because when it starts, when a problem starts, if we can address that at that moment, it becomes easy. नहीं तो प्रॉब्लम बढ़ जाने के बाद, like how we say, a stitch in time saves 9, right? So when the problem is starting, if we can analyze, if we are aware of that, and if we can get rid of that, it is easy. बढ़ जाने से पहले. So awareness all around us. That is what is happening with yoga. And same, right? So how are we going to do this? By the medium of using the physical body. So Sharira Madhyam Halu Dharma Sadhanam. That is said by Kalidas ji in Kumarasambhava. Mahakavi Kalidas. So what does that mean? Body is the primary instrument for fulfilling all our responsibilities, our dharma. Because through the body, we have this physical, avatar hai abhi as this, like I am Meena, somebody is Shrestha, somebody is something else. So like that, we have this physical body to attain all this, through which we have to fulfill all our responsibilities. See, each person ke liye alag alag dharma hai, right? So we have to fulfill all that. How are we going to do it? By using the body. But if the body is sick, we cannot fulfill that, right? So that is where Acharya Sushrita ji bolte hain, dharma artha kama moksha nam arogyam moolam uttamam. So we need to have that state of health, arogya, swastha, to fulfill all this, our purusharthas. So that is why we need to have a fit and strong body that can be flexible enough, that can be strong enough, that can accommodate and adjust and adapt, that can be resilient, anything and everything it will be able to fulfill. So what is happening now? We have three different brains, if you all know. The lower brain, which is just the extension of the spinal cord, what we call as the brain stem. That is the primitive brain which is here. So when we were, like baby cellular form mein, when we were just getting formed, the initial form was the notochord, the spinal cord, and then uska extension hai brain. तो उसमें first form किया हुआ है ये old reptilian brain, which is here, which is corresponding to the pons and medulla. It is like connecting the spinal cord to your limbic and the human brain. The second aspect of the brain is the human brain, the mammalian brain, as we call it, the limbic brain. So that is, connecting, that is in between all our confusions, all our emotions, everything. So that is like causing all this to go around, round, round. Like we say, chitta vritti, right? That is a whirlpool. Jo round, round, round jata hai. So humko confusion hai. So all that is because of the limbic brain. As we go on, I'll explain more. And the later formed or the newly formed brain is the neocortex, which is the frontal brain, neocortex. तो क्या होता है? ये सब aspects connected होना चाहिए, the three brains. So the instinctive behavior related to your mammalian brain, the reptilian brain, instinct. You hit me, I hit you. That's all. You don't have any reason in that. It's like the animal instinct. If you सांप को अगर हम टच करते या हार्म करते हैं, वो क्या करता है? काटता है, right? That's simple. So it is survival instinct. So जैसा हमारे instinct ये lower brain में instinctive behavior, just to stay alive. And then here in the middle brain we have the emotional overactivity, overreactivity. We react for everything. Something is happening somewhere, we think it is our issue. Somebody is talking something, जो भी बोल रहे हैं, हम क्या सोचते हैं, वो हमारे बारे में बोल रहे हैं. तो इसमें से एक छोटा सा कंफ्यूजन शुरू होता है और वो ऐसा ही है, वो बहुत बुरी है, and then goes on and on and on. ये शुरू हो जाता है हमारे मन में. That is affecting everything in us. But with reason, with the neocortex acting, the reasoning power, the viveka, the vairagya, the buddhi, as we call it, with that, we are able to reason out, we are able to understand, analyze the situation and say, it is not like that. So how does Hatha Yoga come here? Hatha Yoga is going to be the bridge between all these three aspects of the brain. Getting rid of the old animal conditioning, the instinctive behavior that we carry. Why? What is common in animals and us? All this, ahara, the food, sleep, fear, and the progeny, succession. So all this is very, very common. What is different now? We have something extra, the sense, right? The buddhi. So we have to use it, which is more evolved in the human beings. And so what is happening now? The problems, all that we are facing is the human behavior. The old conscious brain is more active, and the new brain is not getting activated at all. So the bridge is not properly built, the communication. ये दोनों आपस में again, like the body and mind were fighting, ये दोनों आपस में मिलते नहीं है. तो हठ योग के माध्यम से all the techniques that we do, we try to bring that connectivity. So again, this is we need to bridge, we need to connect. As we said, it is all that connection, bringing back togetherness, that is what matters. So what are we bringing together? The conscious and the unconscious aspects of the human being. So this is an unconscious part. You don't do it, you don't consciously think at all. Whereas this is the conscious brain. So we are trying to bring all these together, where the jiva is able to understand these are the problems, these are the conditions that we have to get rid of. Say, for example, for each and everything, I'm getting angry, I'm getting upset. That is something which we can think about, right? We know. If we are aware, we know. So that is unconsciously happening. It's a habituated pattern that we do. So, jaise ki, have you seen that, गुड़ गुड़ बनाते हैं ना वो, what is that, sugar cane juice भी बनाते हैं. So when it is going, the ox, the bears, going round and round and round, oil निकालने के लिए या sugar cane juice गन्ने के juice निकालने के लिए, just going round and round and round. So the ox is kind of conditioned to it, right? Even if you remove that thread, that rope, it will still be going round and round and round, because it is conditioned. जैसे कि हमारे lower mind है, lower brain है, it is conditioned. Goldfish है ना, एक small pot, glass bowl में रखते हैं. तो what is happening? It is going round in that छोटा सा ball. अगर उसको निकाल के एक बड़े वाले टैंक में डालते हैं, फिर भी वो क्या करता है, ऐसे राउंड 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 गोल 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 घूमता है, क्योंकि इट इज कंडीशन टू दैट. तो हमारे लोअर सिस्टम, अनकॉन्शियस कंडीशनिंग, वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट, गेट ओवर इट एंड स्टार्ट कॉन्शियसली थिंकिंग. Only if we consciously think, we'll be able to get over the unconscious patterns, all the samskaras, the vasanas that we are carrying. We need to get over them. So you all know who can attain success in Hatha Yoga? Anybody and everybody can attain success if they stick to the rules and regulations properly. Yuva Vridho, it need not be young, need not be old. Anybody, they need not be just a strong person, even weak person, severely, handicapped people, elderly people, anybody can be benefited by this if they follow the regulations properly. If they go step by step, anybody can be benefited. So you know about this, the sadhaka tattva and the badak tattva, right? So what all are the qualities which are required for a sadhaka? Utsaha, enthusiasm, sahas. We need to have the courage to face things. And dhairya, perseverance. You have to be patient enough. Like, Shirdi ke Sai Baba bolte hain, shraddha or saburi, right? Wait, perseverance, and shraddha, intense faith, trust. So all these are few of the qualities. So how do you know that you have succeeded? All these are the benefits once you start practicing Hatha Yoga. Slimness of body, you have a bright face, ojas, tejas, all these we have learned. The brightness of the eyes, you are so energetic, you're so cheerful, santosha, like we are healthy, We can, pass on that state of cheer everywhere you go. You can spread that joy everywhere. That's all a few of the qualities. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to attain all this? It is through all the techniques that we do, right? The proper lifestyle, proper food, yogic diet, all this. The Bahiranga aspects, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, for the physical health attainment. And the Antaranga practices, the Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and all these work on your mental, emotional health. Again, restoring normalcy, restoring the state of balance, samatva, in all these spheres of existence, but with the psycho, neuro, immuno, endocrine system. Through that axis, so we are doing all these practices using the physical body, the gross level of our existence. So physical body is manipulated so that the benefit can happen in the subtle body. तो स्थूल शरीर के साथ हम सूक्ष्म को मैनेज करना थोड़ा सा प्रयास करते हैं. तो जैसे कि मन में इतना चंचल होता है, if you want to control the mind, regulate the mind, Sida, it is very, very difficult. What is mind like? It is like a monkey. That's the definition, normally said. A monkey bitten by a scorpion that is standing on a tin roof in the middle afternoon. धूप में जो drunken monkey है वो खड़ा है in the middle afternoon धूप में. तो कैसा करेगा? चिटर चैटर चिटर चैटर चिटर चैटर. तो हमारे माइंड भी उतना डिस्टर्ब रहता है. तो regulating that, controlling that is not going to happen. So that is why we are approaching the mind through the physical body to attain that mind. So from the body, physical, physiological to the psychological. So it is easier. So one of the senior most, Acharyas, Krishnamacharya ji. So this is just a definition that he has given. Asanas for the problems of the body, pranayama for the problems of the. So the techniques being a few that I have just listed out, a few of them. Yama niyama for your attitude, changing the mind, the psychology, the bhavana, attitude. Because what does Yama teach you? To be a man, a human being, to live in this society. हमारे ये जो society में हम तो like we are not अलग से नहीं रहते हैं. हम society पे like we have to live adjusting to the society. So how can we adapt and adjust and be a better human being? Are the morals and ethics that are given, that are taught to you, which changes your psychological pattern, which changes your attitude, which changes the outlook as to how to be that, elevating us from the state of that instinctive behavior, the subconscious behavior, the animal behavior, into a human behavior. What is it that you should not do, and what is it that you should do? All the should not do comes in the yama. Do not harm, do not tell lies, do not steal, do not go away from the natural tendencies, do not be greedy. All these are yama. And what does niyama say? Do be clean, do be like speak truth. So all the do's, do be disciplined, do the analysis, do self-analysis, and surrendering. So all the do's are in niyama. So this is like elevating you and bringing you into a higher state. And physically, what else do we need to do? Shat. Yeah, you all know what it is. The other thing is jatis and kriyas that we do, like all the warm-up practices, which is going to energize. And what are asanas? Bringing your body and mind together when you are holding the posture through the breath again, where you can hold it and your mind can be still. So all the practices we are doing are mindfully done. And pranayama, again, bringing together, bridging and connecting everything, expanding your individuality into that universality. Other techniques that we use, mudra, bandha, dhyana, everything, right? So Navavida Shuddhis are, given by using all these purificatory techniques. Mala Shuddhi, the waste removal. Deha Shuddhi, the body cleanliness. Subtle channel, Nadi Shuddhi. And Prana, the life energy, Prana Shuddhi. Indriya Shuddhi, the sensory purification. Mental purification, Mana Shuddhi. Indriya Shuddhi and Jivana Shuddhi, lifestyle. We focus on a clean lifestyle, right? A regulated lifestyle. That is lifestyle modifications karte hain. So Jivana Shuddhi and Bhavana Shuddhi, like I was saying, attitude. You change your bhavana, the way you look at things. And Atma Shuddhi. So Navavida Shuddhi, not just a physical cleansing. So what is Shatkriya? It is a preparatory practice, as you all know, to prevent the diseases, balance the three doshas, Vata, Pitta and Kapha. And we were talking about the two flows, the Surya and the Chandra, the Ida and the Pingala. Both are moving on the right and the left side, intertwining, right? And beach mein you have the Sushumna. So to create a balanced flow of these two, the Shatkriyas help with that. And removes the stage of lethargy, the state where you are lazy. Tamas is gone, you become active, and you are more, you are a better person when you are active. You're not inert. And then mind is functioning in a smooth way, facilitating again to integrate all these aspects. So this is another definition, what is our body like? Deho Devalaya. So it is like a temple. So the physical body is compared to that of a temple. Because it is, how do we maintain the temple? The temple, mandir kaise hai? बहुत शुद्ध है, बहुत clean है. Like we keep cleaning it constantly. Say for example, there is a mirror in your house. Mirror में हम face, whatever you show in the mirror, it is reflected. So you just leave it like that without wiping, without cleaning. After some days, what happens? थोड़ा सा dust उसमें लगने लगता है. So the clarity is lost. And little more time, full dust you cannot even see. So it cannot reflect. तो हमारे अंदर भी ऐसा ही है. What goes in needs to be reflected. What you are within, what you are outside needs to be corresponding. So it needs to be clean. So that is why you have to treat your physical body as a temple, as a mandir, because it is holding the jiva, the divine in it. So we need to be very, very careful about it to handle it. And the same thing has been given, like in Tamil, there's a sage who's a contemporary of Maharishi Patanjali. Sage Tirumular, you might have heard about him. He's given 3,000, more than 3,000 verses in Tamil, योग के बारे में. जैसे कि योग सूत्र है संस्कृत में, Tamil में you have this Tirumandiram, that the sage Tirumular gave us. तो उसमें भी एक ऐसा सूत्र दिया है कि like why he was initially saying Udambinai Munnam Irukendririndhen. It's in pure Tamil. Initially I was neglecting my physical body because I thought jnana, the mind, is more important. So I was neglecting my physical body. But when I realized, when I understood, जब मेरे को ये समझ में आया कि ये physical body के अंदर वो जो divine है, वो जो आत्मा है, वो जो रियलिटी है, ब्रह्म है, वो रहता है हमारे अंदर. उसके बाद में से मैं ये फिजिकल बॉडी को थोड़ा मेंटेन करने, थोड़ा सा प्रयास I started taking that effort. So that is how it has been given. So you know this concept of ama toxins, which is all building up inside. If it is not cleansed properly, it stays in and creating all these problems. So this is where, all the Shatkriyas help with us, the initial purificatory practices. And then what is yoga? Again, other than being Moksha Shastra, it is also Anubhuti Shastra. Anubhuti meaning experience. It is an experiential, a practical science. So you have a picture here, right? It is like a cake which is cut. So how does it taste? Can you tell me that by looking at this picture? Can you say if it is sweet, if it is salt? तो कैसे हमको पता लगता है कि ये स्वीट है, ये सॉल्ट है, ये अच्छा है, ये अच्छा नहीं है? By eating it. So same thing. How will you get the benefit of yoga? You have to do the practices. You have to experience the practice. That is when the change actually happens. You cannot just sit in a place and ask for the change to happen. Or by learning about it also, कुछ भी नहीं होता है. हमको करना पड़ता है, ये सब प्रैक्टिसेस करना पड़ता है. और करते वक्त हम क्या करते हैं? एक्सपीरियंस हमारे मन है. It's not just the body that is doing, right? So a few of the kriyas and jatis, if you are all up to it, you just show me a thumbs up. If you are all ready, we'll start doing the practices. Are you ready? Just show me a thumbs up. Okay. So a few of the warm-up practices, wherever you are sitting, you can just sit and do along with. Why do we need to do the warm-up practices? Because one is it is creating the flexibility. But more than that, it is giving us a lot of energy. Energy, the flow of prana in all the koshas. Because if there is an obstruction of prana, there is a blockage there. So how do we enable the flow to happen? By practicing all these jatis and the kriyas. Where are these obstructions happening? Especially in the joints. So loosening exercises focuses more on the joints, because all these joints, the chota wala joint, the finger joint, the wrist joint, the elbow joint, joints have space because we need to move the joints. So all the joints has some space, and wherever there is space, there will be some blockage happening if we are not careful about it. Toxins go and get accumulated there. So in order to remove these toxins, we need to use a lot of movement, force, and then the energy, pranic circulation, all these to energize yourself, to enable all these toxins to move out of. Okay. So let's start with the finger joints, right? So start holding one finger after the other, just feeling all the joints in the fingers. If there is any stiffness there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just close all of them together, open all of them wide, close it, make a fist, wide. As you close, open wide. And now rotate your wrist, dono taraf. And the opposite side. 1, 2, 3. And now for the elbows. Just rotate your elbows. Clockwise rotate. And then anti-clockwise rotate. Right. And now just shake your hand, right hand. Shake it, shake your right hand, shake your right. You should not be able to see your fingers. Shake it fast, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Just look at your right hand. Can you see that energy there? Can you see that? Now start shaking your left hand. What is happening now when you're shaking? When you're shaking, when you're shaking. Can you feel something happening? Shake, 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 shake. Now shake both your hands. Shake it, shake it, shake. Move your neck, shake, 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 shake. Shake, 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 shake. Put your tongue out and move it. And now hold all your tensions. Right? Hold it tight, and throw. Just throw. Right? You're taking all the tensions, catching hold of them, and you're throwing it out with the help of your navel region. You're forcing it out, right? You're forcing it out from the navel, saying like, it's not the throat, it's not the nose. It's from the navel. Force it out. What you do not need, your anger, your negative habits, all that is something you catch hold of and throw. Right? You're ready once again. Shake both your hands. Shake, 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 shake. Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Shake it, 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 shake it. Neck, 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 neck. And now catch hold of all your tensions, all your negativities, all that you need to throw. Catch hold. Close your eyes. Right for a moment. Eyes closed. Just feel that, energy in your fingers, the whole body, the upper body that you've just moved and activated, loads of energy moving in, prana moving, blood circulating. Be aware, be conscious of each and everything, mindful of the change that is happening. How do you feel now? Don't you feel light? Don't you feel happy? Don't you feel like activated, right? Energized. So that is where all these japis and kriyas come in. So the initial practice that we do is to create that. And this is what we just did. Letting go, pushing away the tensions. जो भी हमारे मन को प्रेशर करता है, जैसे कि हम लैपटॉप में करते हैं ना, like when we are doing whatever we do not need, the files, what do we do? Shift, delete, right? We always do that, right? So the same thing here also. What do? We just throw it out, cleanse it out that we do not need it, let go of it. तो हमारे practice क्या है? हमारे we just hold on to everything. We just keep saving things, like in our mind, all that which happened. Second standard में मेरे टीचर ने मेरे को punishment दिया, तो इतना दुख रहा था मेरे हाथ, इतना homework दिया. So many things that we do not need. Everything, is inside. Stored in. That comes out at when we do not need it. So new thoughts, new learning, रखने के लिए कहाँ पे space है? All these old tendencies are filled within. So where will we have space to fill it with all the new and good things? That is the problem, right? So we need to let go, we need to throw it out so that we can have space to save and put in all the new things. So what is asana doing? If you are, in a position, can you adjust yourself, make yourself sit straight, eyes closed, hands together, fingers crossed, interlinked. Just focus on the way you're sitting. Are you sitting relaxed? Asana, asi means to sit, to be. Are you sitting quiet? Is your body comfortable? Is there any stress in any region of your body? Do you feel good? Are you aware the position of your body? Now, as you breathe in, open your eyes slowly. So, as you breathe in, slowly stretch your hands up. Interlock your fingers, turn, and stretch it as much as stretch, stretch, stretch. As you breathe out, slowly breathe out. One more time. In, stretch up. Give a good stretch from the base of the spine. You have to give that stretch. Now, slowly. If you are standing up, you can come up on the toes also. Because my camera is not covering me when I stand up. I'm just doing it from sitting. So now what we did was a kriya. Kriya means a rational movement, the body movement synchronized with the breath. So now we are going to hold the same thing for a count of 6 with the normal breathing. The position is being held, not your breathing. हम श्वास को कभी भी होल्ड नहीं करते हैं. आसन के समय नॉर्मल ब्रीथिंग होना चाहिए. So if you're ready, start breathing in. Slowly breathe in. Stretch your arms. If you're standing, you can come up on your toes, looking straight. Balance yourself and hold the posture, the asana, the Tadasana. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Relax. Slowly back to seat. Okay. If you are standing, you can do the Ardha Kati. So as you breathe in, stretch your right arm up, giving a good stretch. Now breathing out, bend to your left side and hold the position with normal breathing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now breathing in, come back to the center. Breathing out, release your hand down. The same thing needs to be repeated in the left side to create the balance. Breathe in, stretch, give a good stretch here. Breathing out, bend. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in, out. And just standing in Samasthiti, eyes closed. Be conscious, listen to your body. What is your body saying now? You gave a good stretch. There was a nice lateral bending that happened. Is your body enjoying it? How are you feeling? Does it feel good? Okay, that's wonderful. I don't know, I'm seeing the, where is the screen?
You are showing some asana, so to allow full screen, I have stopped sharing. You can
Okay.
share again.
Can I start sharing?
Yes, you can share again.
Yeah. Screen. Yes. Is the screen visible? Okay. So what is happening when you're doing the asana? One is like we were saying, the jatis, kriyas, asanas, the mudra bandha, whatever technique you're doing, each and every technique is working, the body is working, the gross level of existence is working, but the benefit is happening in the subtle levels. सूक्ष्म शरीर, कारण शरीर, वो सब में वो changes है, वो जो happen कर रहा है. So cause to effect, and then the cause to effect. So it is like the body to the mind, and then mind to the body. The equilibrium is now maintained. So all the techniques that we are doing, say for example, the Parvatasana, the Thadasana that we did. So what did you do physically? You were giving a good stretch. So at the physical level, body में क्या हुआ? एक अच्छा सा stretching मिला. Musculoskeletal system is well stretched. Your joints are stretched. There was a nice movement happening, the whole body. So what is happening in your mind? You decided that you want to go up on your toes. Correct? When you're doing the Thadasana, you went up on the toes. Did you do that? है कि नहीं? You went up on the toes. You pushed yourself up. Voluntarily you pushed. Mindfully you pushed. So आपके मन में you decide that you want to push yourself up, to elevate yourself up. So each and every asana, each and every practice has so many significances, right? We just need to understand that. So शरीर में ये सब stretching, ये सब हो रहा है. What is that stretching happening in the body? What is the happening in the mind? Mind is now getting more stretched, more adaptable. You are becoming more adjustable. You are becoming more resilient. You know, like a rubber ball, when you throw it down, what happens to the rubber ball? It bounces back, it comes back. So we need to have that quality of resilience. तो हमारे लाइफ में जो भी हमको नीचे पुश करता है, we need to have that energy to push upwards. तो ये थाड़ासन जब हम करते हैं, हमारे मन में डिसाइड करते हैं कि हम we are going to push ourselves up. We are determined to do that. And once we decide that, मन ये करता है. So when you go into that position, and when you are holding the posture of Tadasana, what is now happening? You are stable. You are balanced because your mind and body are now in an agreement. So what is connecting again your mind and body? Your breathing. You're breathing normally now. You're breathing in a rhythm. So all this is happening simultaneously. Like separately. Body में ये हो रहा है, mind में ये, it's not separately. All this is happening all at once when you're doing the practice. So your emotions, what is happening to your emotions? Emotions are becoming stable and balanced. So you are not too happy, you're not too sad, you are in that state of balance. And your buddhi, it is able to discriminate. Now it is able to decide. You have to be firm. That is your, the Anandamaya kosha, the causal, the spiritual level that is giving you the energy to stay firm. जैसे पर्वत है, जैसे you have to be firm, whatever the storm is, whatever the difficulties of life are. So we have to stay firm, right? That's what a mountain is all about. What does a mountain signify? The strength, the firmness. It doesn't move. Hilta nahi na mountain. So that is what it signifies. So you prepare yourself, you elevate yourself, you do that practice. So all these qualities are imbibed in us. That is where yoga is so, experiential. So we have to understand with each and every practice what we are doing. Say, for example, you're doing the Bhujangasana. What does the Bhujanga signify? Bhujanga signifies a cobra. So you are assuming the position of a cobra. Cobra is a reptile. So what do we need to understand? Physical body is getting the flexibility. A flexion is happening in your spine, where the spine is getting flexible. The Jata Ragni. So all these physiological changes, your neck muscles, your back muscles, all these are getting strengthened. All this is fine. What is happening in your mind? You are assuming the shape of a cobra. So all those instinctive qualities that the cobra has, it has a very good memory power, right? We've heard. सांप just decide करता है, जैसे कि movies में दे दिखाते हैं ना, सीरियल्स में भी दिखाते हैं कि इतना शार्प मेमोरी है कि रिवेंज लेने बगैर ये छोड़ता नहीं, right? They go behind and then take the revenge. So what do we need to expel now, and what do we need to adapt? There are two things that we learn from each thing. One is something that we need to follow, the other is something that we need to not follow, right? So that is also again a learning. We need this, we do not need this. What is helping you? Your buddhi is helping you to understand this is a quality that I have to understand and imbibe within me, and this is a quality which I should get rid of. So सांप में जो instinctive reptilian behavior है, you just go near it or you hurt it, ये काटता है. So that is, instinctive behavior because of the survival instinct. It is afraid you're going to kill it. So जैसे qualities we have to get rid of. And what are the qualities that a snake has? The adaptability. It can squeeze through a small opening. So all the adaptable changes within us. We have to live in this environment. We have to live with people. तो ये जो adaptability है, वो सीखना है सांप से. So when you are assuming the position of Bhujanga, these are qualities which we take in, and there are a few qualities which we get rid of consciously, and that is what is being helped in asanas. So you are conscious to get rid of all these unconscious patterns, all these that we need to get rid of, the samskaras, the vasanas, the conditions that we take over. All these are, you go through it to get rid of it. And that is how these asanas are going to help us. So all these are a few of the benefits that are happening through asanas, especially all the asanas that we do. It helps, cultures the health of the spine. All that we do is focused on the spine and the brain, the cultural asanas, as we say. Say, for example, the Pavan Muktasana. What do you do during the Pavan Muktasana? You are, as you breathe in, you fold your knee and then you hold it and you take your chin or nose or forehead to it, creating a nice lock in the body, right? So that is what is happening Pavan Mukti. So हमारे intrathoracic pressure, thorax ये region है, the center region of the body. So thoracic pressure is becoming more temporarily as long as you're holding that asana. And once you release the asana, what is happening? A lot of energy flow is there, lot of blood flow is there. So temporarily, say for example, you're sitting in Vajrasana. तो वज्रासन में बैठते समय क्या क्या होता है, थोड़ी देर के बाद आपके पैर में थोड़ा नम हो जाता है. So when you stretch your legs, what do you see? You feel a lot of blood flowing in. Your feet becomes pink. Have you observed any of this? Have you seen this? You feel the blood flowing, right? So when you are sitting in the asana, it is like there is temporarily a force that is stopping the flow. And then when you release the asana, there is blood flow, energy flow, removing again all the toxins and creating a lot of energy. The flow is resumed, right? So that is what is happening. And with all this, what is now building up is your body, the capacity to withstand, withhold stress, and that enhances so that you are feeling attaining that state of health and wellness, and with the health state of health and wellness, your intake of medicines is reduced, so much of side effect is reduced when the dosage is reduced. All this can happen if we are doing the practices regular. So as yoga therapists, you need to understand the importance of spine. हमारे जो spinal cord है उसमें like what are the movements possible, like how we say in the cultural asanas, you know about the three categories of asanas: relaxation asanas, meditation asana, and cultural. So most of the asanas that we practice are all in the cultural asana category. So what are we culturing? The brain and the spinal cord, right? So through these the other changes are happening. Again, think over the gross to the subtle, all those changes. So, what are the 5 movements possible with the spine? One is the stretching movement that we did with the Tadasana. The next one is the flexion, that is with the Paschimottasana, where you are bending forward, completely forward bending. The other one that we can do with the spine is the backward bending, Purvottanasana or Ushrasana, the back bending. You can do the back bending, extending the spine. And the other one that is possible with the spine is the lateral flexion that we did now with the Ardhakati Chakrasana, right? So there's an axial extension, a forward bend, a backward bend, a lateral, as well as a twisting, which is possible with the Ardha Matsura, twisting to the right, twisting to the left side. So दोनों तरफ हम twist कर सकते हैं. So spinal cord is capable of all these movements, and with all these movements, we are able to maintain the flexibility of the spinal cord and the health also. There is a saying, if the spine, you are as old as your spine. Have you heard it? So अगर spine stiff हो, तो क्या होता है कि even at 18, you begin to look very old because you're very stiff inside out. So total stiffness है. So that is why we need to, understand how much important flexibility is. Because when you are stiff, the flow is not good. There's a lot of tightness within. You hold, when there is tightness in the physical body, what is your mind like? You're holding everything tight in your mind within. So with the flexibility that is promoted, with the energy that is flowing, your mind also is able to let go of all that tightness from within, and it can be. So everything is related, everything is linked together. It is not just the body that we are doing, it is not just a physical exercise. So pranayam ke bare mein, there are lots and lots that you can just go on and on and on. So main thing is pran. What is pran? Pran is something that is making you do whatever you are doing, that is making you speak, that is making you see. Anything and everything, we need the pran. We are alive because of pran. है कि नहीं? Doctor so and so, judge so and so, right? And one moment when the pran leaves the body, next moment, what do you call it? The doctor so and so, the respectable judge so and so, what becomes? It is just the body, right? Just that. So what is it that is making all this so important? It is the pran that is keeping you alive, that is making you whatever you are. So what is happening now? We are manipulating the breathing with all these different breathing patterns that we do. And I was also talking to you about the sympathetic, the parasympathetic branch, and all these that we are doing. The right is energizing. So if you're going to do right nostril breathing, what are you going to do? You're going to energize. So somebody comes to you with depression, you need to energize them. अगर कुछ और comorbidities नहीं है, So that is what we need to think as yoga therapist. It is not just one condition you are, looking after. You are treating with the yoga techniques. So you have to look at all the things, all the conditions that are there. Say, for example, a patient comes to you people. दो पेशेंट्स आ रहे हैं, दोनों के रिकॉर्ड्स सेम है, both are diagnosed depression and obesity. दोनों के, right? Both have the same levels of this. So now what is happening? This is the problem. One patient got depressed because of the increased weight. Because the weight was increasing, they were so depressed, they didn't know how to address it. They didn't know. They tried everything to control the weight, but it is not happening. So because of that, they were so depressed. And the other patient, what happened was, they were man mein so depressed that they started eating all faulty food, all wrong food, what we call as the anxious eating, faulty eating, wrong eating, stress eating. So all the oily food, all the waste food, if you're going to be eating that, naturally your body weight is going to increase. So because of depression, the body weight. तो दोनों को एक ही तरफ हम ट्रीट कर सकते हैं क्या योगा थेरेपी माध्यम से? So what is the difference now? We need to understand what is the cause, right? So the root cause for the first person, it was obesity, because of which they became depressed. For the second person, it was depression, which was causing the obesity. So what is the prime cause? What needs to be addressed first? What needs to be taken care of first is what we need to think of. And the other existing comorbidities because of it. So that is something which we need to keep. So what are the techniques which could be applied? That comes last. Like we say, Heya, Hetu, Hana, Upaya. What is Heya? Here's the symptoms. Like I was saying, the depression, the obesity. These are a few symptoms that you, like observe in a patient or the person who comes to you for yoga therapy. Hana, Heya, Hetu. Hetu is the root cause that has caused this symptom, the condition to be that they are existing right now. Say, for example, you have a patient with diabetes. The sugar levels are high. It is just the body that is showing the sugar levels very high. But what is the cause of that? That is something else. So that needs to be assessed. So that will be hetu is the root cause for this problem to happen. And then Hana, what is the goal? What do they want to achieve with yoga? They want to get rid of this. They want to become strong. They want to sleep better. There are people who come and say, I want to sit in Vajrasan and do my prayer. So that is their goal. So what is their goal? Individual goal is there. And then Upaya comes last. What are the techniques you're going to give this person? So that is individual. You have to keep trying, trial and error. So initially you formulate a protocol. This is good, that is good. All these techniques are good. Sometimes, you don't even need a list of techniques. There is just one technique which is going to bring the change. There are so many things that are there, permutation combinations. Just with the help of pranava pranayama, the change was brought, right? So that's again, one person. So is it going to work in everybody? No. Again, it is each person is different. Each one is different. So we need to keep manipulating and changing that. So what is pranayam doing? It is helping you to get rid of that stress, alleviate the stress by bringing the balance. So we are using the different patterns of breathing to bring that state of balance. And the other important thing in pranayam is that what are we doing? Using the nada, nada pranayamas, where the sound, the akara, the ukara, where you are creating that beautiful sense of vibratory energy, the makara. So all these also. So when you are using sound, what is easy now? The inhalation to exhalation ratio is there, right? 1:1, for example. You breathe in to a count of 6, you breathe out to a count of 6, it is normal, right? So when we are breathing with the nostrils, this is fine. You can go up to, say, breathing in to a count of 6. And if you're well versed, if you're an expert, you can breathe out to a count of 12 using your nostril. 1:2, right? But using the sound, what can you do? Breathing in. What are you doing now? You are exhaling. Exhalation is happening as long as possible, that it could even be 1:3 ratio. The more you exhale, the better you feel, the more relaxed you feel. So it is easier to create that sense of balance. The more exhalation is there, the vagal tone is addressed well. So it is enhanced. Again, lot of interconnectivities are there. I'm not going into the complicating factors. But the more the exhalation, the better for us, right? And you also know about the Hatha Pradipika, which says, Chale vate chale chittam. So what are connected now? The breath and the mind. When you elongate the breath, the more you breathe in, the more you breathe out, and you can hold the breath in. After breathing out, you can hold. So, what is it that is now happening? The mind, which is in a state of disturbance, is now brought into that state of stability. So, through the breath, through the pranayam, your mind could be brought into control. So, what is your manomaya kosha made up of? The lower mind, the manas and chitta. So the chitta is causing all these confusions, the subconscious impression going around, the limbic system working. All this is happening. And your manas, which is a conscious mind that is working right now. So you are able to consciously decide, this is something that I'm going to do, catch hold of all these subconscious things and get it out of. So you are working very, very consciously. So pranayam is helping you to breathe very consciously, mindfully, so that your physical body, the circulatory, the respiratory system, your lungs are working. And what is happening in the lungs? That is purifying the blood from the heart, right? The pulmonary vessels are there. You know about all that. So that I'm not going into the scientific aspect now. So, but you have to remember that the lungs are not functioning on its own. The heart is not functioning on its own. We again have to remember all the systems in the body are interconnected. Remember the chain? All are interlinked, all are interconnected. So the blood is flowing through all the body systems, all the organs internally. So when the energy flows, when the blood flows, the nutrients are taken everywhere, the oxygen is supplied everywhere. So all this is happening. And when we breathe, like I was saying, the lower brain, the animal brain, the reptilian brain, made up of the pons and medulla, that is connecting the spinal cord to the other aspects of the brain. So this is the survival part, which has the circulatory, the respiratory, and the digestive system in its control. Because these are what are required for our survival. हम जीवित रहने के लिए ये तीनों बहुत important है. तो ये सब के इंचार्ज ये सेंटर्स है. And हमारे breathing center, respiratory center, Aprakash Bindu is also here. The respiratory center is also in the survival aspect of the brain, the pons and the medulla. So what is your breathing normally? The inhalation is active. The exhalation is happening passively. by the automatic recoil of the lungs. So you inhale, all that mechanism is there, like the respiratory center says, start with the inhalation, which means the diaphragm goes out, the lungs move outward, the accessory muscles move upwards, and there is space created. Volume is more, pressure is less. So you inhale, taking in the atmospheric oxygen that comes in through the breath. And now, when it is filled, when it is equal to the atmospheric pressure, now what does the respiratory center tell you? Stop breathing and just breathe. And the lung automatically now falls in. The diaphragm goes up, the intercostals come in, the accessory moves downward. That happens as a recoil. It is a passive process. There is no activity. So inhalation is conscious, but exhalation is unconscious. That is the normal when we are doing it without the mind. Now we are all breathing now, but we are not thinking about the breathing. The nose is just doing it as an activity. Your lungs are working now, your heart is pumping now, your kidney is working now. But are we conscious about it? It is all happening automatically. So, what is an automatic, autonomic process is now brought into your consciousness. And what is now, with exhalation, when you do it mindfully, exhaling, like with the sound, you're doing it mindfully so that you can exhale longer. So what is an unconscious activity is now becoming a conscious activity. So you understand the difference? So inhalation is active, exhalation is also now voluntary, under you are controlling it. It is not happening involuntarily. So there's a lot of difference. And now when you do this, your mind is automatically coming into it, into the equation. Otherwise, the mind is not in the equation. So the other thing we need to remember is yatho mana tata prana. So where the mind goes, there the prana flows. So all the activities that we are doing consciously has a mind involved there, so that you're able to focus, so that you're able to get stable, so that you can come into that state of ekagrata, dharana, whatever you want to call it, and relaxation. This is another component of the yoga that is mostly, neglected, because we have seen patients who come in and, like if the class is for 1 hour, they say, please go on. We need to know more techniques up to the last minute. Don't give us relaxation. Don't make us lie down in Shavasana. In Shavasana, we are just relaxing. We are just sleeping. No, no, that is time waste. So 10 minute Shavasana, we are wasting 10 minute time. So don't do that. Let us learn something more. Let us do something. But is that good? It's not at all good. We need to have that relaxation component. Why? So we have our mobile phones. What do we do when we need? The batteries are fully charged, but after some time the charge goes down, and we have to connect it to the a source so that it can get recharged. So we are like that. We are like the batteries. After some time, our charge is down. So how do we recharge ourselves? We have to connect to the source. What is the source? That is the universal being, the universe. So you have to connect. Only when you are relaxed can you connect with that source, the battery, and recharge yourself. Sorry. Sorry, yeah. So that is when you get the batteries of your own self recharged. When? When you can relax, when you can let go, when you can recharge yourself. And when you recharge is when you feel rejuvenated. The energy gets refilled. Your energy resources are filled up. And that is when healing can happen. So healing happens only when you are relaxed. Otherwise, it does not happen. You have to let go for the healing to happen. So relaxation is very, very important for all of us, the prana. And in Shavasana, we have lot of techniques that we can do, So for example, Savitri Pranayam. Are you all familiar with Savitri Pranayam? That is a pranayam which is taught in our tradition, wherein you breathe to a ratio of 2:1. It's a rectangular breathing pattern. You breathe in to a count of, say, for 6. You hold in Antara Kumbhaka to a count of 3. You breathe out to a count of 6 again and hold out to a count of 3. So you understand? So breathe in 6, hold 3, out 6, hold 3. This is one thala, as we say. There are different thalas. Like say, for example, for some it will be 4-2-4-2. For some 6-3-6-3. For some it will be 8-4-8-4, depending on the capacity of the individual. So with Savitri Pranayama, what did Savitri do? Savitri fought with Yam Maharaj to bring back her husband's life, right? So that was the traditional mythology. So this pranayam, Savitri pranayam, enables us to rejuvenate and bring back, get back that life. That is where, the Savitri pranayam is very, very important. And we have kriyas like Kaya Kriya, where, you start moving your legs to, breathing in, you move it inward, breathing out in Shavasana, breathing out, you move it outward. I think we need to have a separate class for all these techniques alone. Hmm? So maybe, like in future, we'll have a class on that. And then you know about the Yoga Nidra, Anulom Vilom Prakriya. So all these are kriyas, Marmanastanam Kriya, which is again a part of our traditional teaching, where you just lie down in Shavasana and consciously start relaxing part by part, which is taught as Yoga Nidra in a few traditions. So all that is same, I mean different. Maybe the way it is taught, the name given is different, but all of us are, the goal is to attain moksha. It's all the same, healing. So what are we doing? With the yogic techniques, with the practices, synchronizing the body breath in asanas or all the practices where you mindfully bring them together so that we create that environment within for the evolution, for the elevation of the spirit to happen. Direction of attention, like we said, in Marmanastanam, you are relaxing in Shavasana, but consciously you are taking in your attention into body parts, different body parts from the foot up to your head, top of the head. So each part gets alive. The statement again, yato mana tata prana, where your mind goes. So you're focusing on the toes, the energy flows into the toes. You're focusing on the knees, the energy flows into the knees. So conscious relaxation is what yogic relaxation is all about. It is not sleeping. You're not sleeping here. You're active. You're very, very active. You're conscious of each and every thing that is happening all around you, and you're consciously connecting. So if you all know the 5th chapter, because normally what is taught is the 4 chapters, Chaturanga Yoga is what Hatha Pradipika is called. But there is a 5th chapter with just 35 verses in it, which is focusing on the yoga therapy, yoga chikitsa, which focuses, I'm just rushing through this so that, like I'm just going to tell you again, the connectivity between the chitta and prana is brought about. And what is causing a disease is the obstruction in the flow of prana, is what Swami Swatmarama is saying. What is causing a disease is the obstruction in the flow of prana. And when the tenfold, the pranavayu, the upaprana vayu, if they can flow properly, if the obstruction is removed, If the Nadi Shuddhi is there and the flow is resumed, automatically the disease is gone and that the pain is not there. And in all the diseases, what Swami Swatmarama advises is that the patient, the yogi, whoever it is, should take the advice of a qualified physician, whatever it is, whoever it is, be it an Ayurvedic physician, be it a doctor, a medical doctor. So whatever it is, you take the advice and then you properly do the treatment and then get the benefit. So mainly the practices are done in Shavasana, all the relaxation practices where the blockages are removed. What Swami Swatmarama again re-establishes whatever we were speaking is that the prana which is blocked causes the disease or the pain. So by removing that blockage, consciously sending in prana to those regions, the blockage is removed and the obstacles are no more there and the pain is gone and the disease is also gone. So any treatment, any therapy that is given focuses on the pran through which the healing is facilitated. So these are a lot of benefits that happens with the yogic practices. Just thinking of the time. The yogic practices, I will share the slides with you. So what is happening with the fitness? This is a study which was done by Sadhbir Khalsa ji in Harvard University. And this is what they have come up with. The fitness levels in the physical body, flexibility, strength, coordination, balance, everything. Regulation, your emotional regulation, stress regulation, resilience, as we were talking about, awareness, you're mindful, you're focused, you're concentrating, and spirituality, you're able to transcend, you're able to transform yourself with the flow, and giving a meaning, a purpose to what you're doing. And all these, enhancing the quality of life, creating a purpose and a meaning for what you're doing. So again, focusing on the yogic diet, the sattvic diet, the rajasic diet, the tamasic diet, you know all about it. You know the three gunas and the three doshas related to the diet. So as a yoga therapist, you need to know what is good and what is not good, which you need to advise to the patients. So along with the yoga practices, these are also a few factors. Say for example, घर बनाने के लिए घर जब हम build करते हैं, उसके लिए we need so many different things. Yeah, मिट्टी चाहिए, bricks चाहिए, पानी चाहिए, ये जो iron rods है वो चाहिए, cement चाहिए, and ये सबसे ऊपर आदमी चाहिए, ये सब जोड़ने के लिए, बनाने के लिए, घर बनाने के लिए, शेप करने के लिए. तो all these are different components for the building to come up. So similarly for us, we need all these techniques. Each one has one input to make you that strong whole being with, filled with health and wellness at all the levels of your existence. So yogic diet matters, lifestyle changes, like where we focus on achar, vichar, ahar, vihar, and vyavahar, the fifth component where you try to relate with everybody around you. How are you relating? So what is the main principle of healing as far as yoga therapy goes? One is, the main thing is that each individual is, alag-alag tarike ke se hain. So each one is different and each one has all these, the body, the mind, the soul, the interrelated dimensions like the panchakoshas, the pranamaya, the manomaya, the vijnanamaya, the anandamaya, all these different levels of existence. And all of them are what? Interrelated, interconnected. So that is something we always need to keep in mind. Again, just to revise. So health, or, if it is good, everything is good. If there is a weakness or disturbance happening in one aspect, that is percolating to all this aspect, disturbing the equilibrium. So that is where, we need to be aware where the disturbance is happening. So all the dimensions are disturbed when there is a small disturbance happening in any one of these levels. So individuals, like we said, we saw those two patients who had the same symptoms or externally, but they are so different. So each individual is different. And so the practices we choose, how we address them should be different also. We cannot use one, like for example, Dolo 650 for headache. That is one pill that you can treat for everybody. Symptomatically, yes, the headache comes down. Very, very seemingly, yes. थोड़ी देर में headache चलता है. You are feeling better. But does it come back? What is the root cause for that headache? We don't analyze. So that is where, the treatment in yoga and the regular treatment, the other allopathic treatment, they are so different. And what happens is that, like we were telling, earlier, the healing has to happen from within, because you are your own healer. Yoga, the techniques in yoga is going to facilitate with the energy flow. You are going to be doing all that, and the energy flow is resumed. But the healing has to happen from within. You have to heal yourself. It is not going to come from outside. That is something from within. And what is the healing depending on? It depends on the quality of your mind. With a positive frame of mind, healing is very, very quick. With a negative frame of mind, healing again is hindered. Anything in life gets lost with a negative frame of mind, the pessimistic attitude, as we say. And that is why we focus on the bhavana shuddhi. You have to change your attitude so that all this can happen. So what is stress doing to us? One is the fear. That is, the enemy is, attacking us. So you have to run. You have to fly away, the fight or flight situation. The other place is where there is no enemy that is attacking here, but it is stressed mentally thinking that there is an enemy. So there is a difference in these two situations, right? So in our life, we need to know whether there is an enemy really there, or are we thinking, are we perceiving something, are we imagining, vikalpa, illusion, maya, whatever you want to call it. Are we just imagining something to be there? And that is where this whole setup of the limbic system now starts, where it all starts with something called amygdala. This is your limbic system, part of your brain, the middle brain, as we were telling, the mammalian brain. So what is happening in the amygdala? Fear, emotions, all these are triggered. You see something, you get afraid, you immediately withdraw. And why? Because the hippocampus, which is your memory bank, is telling, oh my God, last time when I went up the stairs, I fell down, I got hurt, I got fractured. So immediately there is a tightening happening. So these start working together, and you have something called the cingulate gyrus here, up here, which is responsible for the survival instinct, abhinivesha klesha. I want to survive. So I need to now escape. All this is now going around, going around, going around, and affecting the hypothalamus. So all this is what you perceive in your mind, which is now coming down to hypothalamus, which is perceiving all these stress, the changes happening. And the hypothalamus is a part of your brain, the nervous system, which is now taken into your body. How? During the time of stress, the limbic activity going around, the disturbance. So one is the immediate reaction. You see the enemy, you run away from it. That is the immediate reaction with all the fight or flight response. The other one is the hypothalamus commanding the pituitary to release the the hormone, commanding the facilitatory factor to the adrenal, which is going to release the this is a slower reaction, so causing a lot of change in your physical body. All these, cortisol, corticosterone, cortisols and sterones and all these hormones getting released into your bloodstream, epinephrine, norepinephrine, everything coming, increasing your heart rate, increasing your BP, increasing the sugar, all these, because you have to now have the energy to run, to fly away from your enemy, because you saw somebody as an enemy. So that is where this whole thing happens. So where is the key now? In the way you saw things. So psycho to the neuro, to the hypothalamus, that is going into your body. So how our thoughts and emotions cause the disturbance in the body, settling in as a vyadi. So how do we restore balance in the psycho-neuro-immuno-endocrinology? That is where, by resetting this complex, the refine-tuning, the interconnectivity between these systems. All this is what we were discussing, bringing back the normalcy. So psycho, neuro, immuno, endocrinology. So when the stressor is something that is going to cause you the stress, when the stressor affects, what is happening now? All these systems are affected. So when the stressor affects you, immediately there are the T cells, the immune cells as we call, which guards our body against the infections, against bacteria, against virus. So these are guarding now. That is released. And everything is now functioning properly. The hormones, the norepinephrine, the cortisols, all these which is to protect us is getting released. But in a chronic stress, now what is happening? What is now protecting your body? The T cells, the B cells now go against you. What is soldier protecting you now turns again. There is cytokine rush, and your autoimmune system now turns against you. Autoimmunity, it is now going totally against you. It is working against you. What is supposed to protect you is causing you harm. So the immune system is gone, like it is not functioning properly. So the whole equilibrium is lost. Now, by bringing the mind into it, and that is why we focus on each and every practice in yoga where mind is brought into it, the importance of mind. मन को अंदर mindfully करते हैं, जो भी practice हो मन भी होना चाहिए उसमें. So by bringing the mind into it, what happens is that your perception of the problem is now changing. What you thought, what you imagined of as an enemy is now no more. The stressor is now not a stressor, because your approach to the stressor is now different. You have modified the way you look at the stressor, and now you look at it in a different way, and you are able to deal with it. You are able to find a solution to the problem, and all that because your mind is there. Your buddhi is functioning now. All this is now coming together, producing the repair, retracing, and now your mind is calm, and you are that holistic being once again. So this is the pathway one through which, through the yoga, like we were telling, the sympathetic overdrive is brought down, the parasympathetic is now enhanced, and now the balance is created, producing all this. The perceived distress is now coming down. You perceive wrongly as something as a stressor. Now you change your perception. You look at it in a different way. You understand because your bhavana is now changed. Pratipaksha bhavana, what you thought of as something negative, you have replaced that negative thought. You are now positive, and you can replace the idea of how you approach it. So that is where the whole thing changes, enhancing the quality of life. All these, the changes that follow. There are so many benefits that happens just to understand a few of the research studies. All these, like when you start taking tablets for insomnia, that is the regular course of treatment. What is happening now? The side effects, you are confused. The psychomotor activities are slowing down, and nocturnal falls. Like what happens is that the sleepiness is still there because you took the tablet, sleeping tablet at night. So daytime में still उसका असर है. तो जब पैदल चलते वक्त you don't see the floor, you don't see the obstacle down, and what happens now? You fall. So there's a lot of such things happening. And your functioning intellectually, buddhi is not functioning, the sense of reasoning is not there, all these. And by yoga, what happens is that including yoga to this, along with the medication, yoga is now producing what we call as, the pineal gland, the pituitary, the pineal, all these glands, which enhances the production of melatonin, which is like sleep inducing. So a small, thing. And the next, like where dyspnea, breathlessness, a study has been done where with pranayama practice, what is happening now? Or the breathlessness is coming down. All these, benefits are happening. The breathless, really, when you're not able to breathe properly, there is a lot of distress here. The respiratory muscles are strained. So there's a lot of strain in your lungs happening, in your heart happening. So with yoga, with the pranayama practices, all these are brought into the state of relaxation so that the depression related to this distress is now down, and you are physically able to perform better. The quality of life is now getting enhanced. And similarly, you can go on and on and on during pregnancy, improved physical strength, flexibility, relaxation of mind, body, and then, awareness, self-awareness, and body, mind, calmness. The labor pain is brought down. You're more flexible. Your muscles, the pelvic muscles, the pelvic floor is more flexible and it's more elastic, it's more relaxed, so that normal deliveries could be facilitated. And cancer patients, the study again says, the fatigue related to all the cancer medications is brought down, and depression related symptoms, stress, all this is brought down with inclusion of yoga in a cancer affected person. Physical performance is enhanced because they are very very weak, that when they get up sometimes they have a fall. So the orthostatic change usually causes a lot of the like the falls, but now with all the enhanced performance is seen in such patients. And the post chemotherapy, is very very debilitating. Their normal functioning is affected, lot of change, like physically they don't feel energetic, they feel so weak, vomiting is there. So all this is brought down in cancer patients with the inclusion of yoga. And these were techniques which were done. This is a study done at Jipma in Pondicherry, where all these techniques were applied, and clinically what did we find? Heart rate coming down, systolic pressure coming down, the mean pressure coming down, diastolic pressure coming down. So in the patients with hypertension and diabetes, we found that the blood pressure was normalizing, and the diabetes, the sugar levels were also coming down. So it's all advantage, the plus positive effects of yoga therapy. As yoga therapists, we need to know, get updated about the research also. So how is all this happening? By the body getting flexible, the respiratory function getting enhanced, the tidal volume, the respiratory rate is coming down, cardiorespiratory reserves are going up, your heart is functioning well, your respiratory system, the lung, the muscles, the vital capacity, each you name it, and it is getting better. And the frequency and the duration of practices are, you're able to increase it. Initially, when you start learning, You start with, a few practices, but as you go on, you increase the intensity of the practice. You increase the duration of your practice. So all this samay, jitna samay, like starting half an hour, thodi increase karte, you can do 1 hour without getting tired. And that is how, you keep on increasing. So all these, why? Because your body is getting attuned to these practices. Because the muscles are getting more flexible and adaptable. So you can just go on and on. So Swami Geetanand Giri Guru Maharaj, he's given us a few of the therapeutic modalities in Yoga Chikitsa. So for example, the physical therapies to treat the physical body, we have asanas and kriyas, mudras and bandhas, all these, the feel good hormones we were talking about, like the digestion, all these are enhanced. The physiological functioning is enhanced. Apart from all this, after a yoga session, how do you feel? You feel energetic, you feel good, you feel happy. Why? Because of the release of the feel good hormones, right? That's the endorphins, the enkephalins, what's called as the dose. The D for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and all the endorphins. So these are released in the bloodstream with the techniques that we are doing. And emotional therapy, swadhyaya, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, bhajans, all these, like at various, what is it doing? It is addressing your emotions. You are able to address your own self. You're able to regulate. You're able to control your emotions and, like do it. You're more balanced. All these can happen. Group activities also help us to manage our emotions in a better way. Hmm? Satsanga, as we say. And, the patterns, the attitude, change in attitude is very, very important. Psychological attitudes, vairagya, detachment, the bhavana, pratipaksha bhavana, as we were talking about the chitta prasadanam, the change should happen. We are able to cope with the stressors better. All these we have been discussing because there is mental clarity. You're able to address the problem in a better way. Prevention, rehabilitation, yes, you can do all this. You can prevent so many things. Prevention is always better than cure, right? Yoga is enabling that to happen. How? By you are more aware, so you can prevent a lot of accidents from happening. Your immune system, prevention, if you're strong, you can prevent all these, like COVID happened now. If your immune system is strong, you can prevent that from happening. And your psychosomatic stress level, because of your lifestyle changes, you are able to get rid of all that. And rehabilitation, yes, back pain, all these, you can get rid of musculoskeletal issues, all these. And pain relief, you've heard about it, the cervical pain, the back pain, low back pain, all these can be addressed with different techniques. And for yoga therapist, as yoga therapist, what we need to do, one, the first thing is we need to practice, like we were saying, it is anubhuti. We need to experience, we need to do the practices ourselves, keep ourselves fit. And you need to, when you're going to be teaching, for example, halasana, you cannot just sit there and teach the asana. Okay, now stretch your legs 90 degrees upwards, vertical, and then take your leg down, let it touch the ground. Can you do that directly into somebody? No. We have to do the practice. We need to know what is the difficulty of the practice. We need to understand, experience that, and then how to prepare to go into that asana. So how can we create that flexibility in the spine so that it can extend till the foot comes down and touches the floor? So all these we need to do, experience it so that we can teach. Without experiencing, you cannot be a teacher. You need to know where the pain comes. You need to tell them like where to stop, right? So वो सब हमको पता होना चाहिए. As yoga teachers, it is our duty, it is our responsibility. And we need to know about the theory also, the philosophy behind each practice that we are doing. Like we were, discussing Tadasana, उनके इतने सारे benefits है. मन में क्या changes हो रहा है? Spiritually, what are the changes? What is now totally getting changed into it? What is transforming? All these we need to understand so that you can teach this to the patients or whoever it is who are coming to learn from you through. And in addition to all this, as teacher, you need to have your own uniqueness, your methodology, however you want to do it. So how do you go about doing it? Having all this knowledge is one side. Theory, the knowledge is one side. But how do you bring it into practice? How do you apply that? That is up to you. That is up to your individuality. So what do we need to do? That disassociation is now dispelled, and now we are bringing that back into the state of association, integration, harmony, dukkha, samyoga, viyogam, yoga sankmitam. So you are staying away from those factors which cause pain, from dukkha to that state of sukha. So we are analyzing what the root cause is, and then we are going to be taking it forward, the therapy, the treatment, and not just treating the symptoms, right? So we have so many techniques right in front of us, thousands of techniques in yoga. But if we do not know how to use it, what is it, right? It is just another tool. So we need to know how to manipulate, how to use a technique. How can we find the asanas have so many variations, so many modifications. Which is the modification we need to apply to this particular person? Can we do that? Can we do it this way? That is, with practice you get it, with experience you get it. And, as ardent sadhakas, we need to learn under the guidance of an Acharya, a qualified teacher. And Hatha Yoga, this is what is the practice that is being suggested for the Kali Yuga. Because where man and women, as Ammaji says, credit to Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani Ammaji, where man and women has lost the control over the body, over the emotions, and over the senses. They shout wherever they want. They fight wherever they want. They don't have that control. So where are we now? And how do we bring us back into that state where we are cultured, where the aesthetics happens? It is not just the body, your mind is cultured. You know where to speak, you know when to speak, right? So all this is through Hatha Yoga. So bring yourself back into that state, using all these techniques as the stepping stone, as the stairs. So to elevate yourself, to transform yourself. So may we all be blessed, and Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you so much for the patient listening.
Namaste.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. You finished at the in time. So
Yes.
thank you very much, मीना जी.
Thank you.
डॉक्टर मीना जी का हम बहुत आभार मानते हैं IAYT की तरफ से और हमारे सब स्टूडेंट्स की तरफ से. उन्होंने ये मैराथन लेक्चर सेशन किया, 2 घंटे बहुत अच्छा नॉलेज दिया, साइंटिफिक एस्पेक्ट ऑफ एग्जीक्यूशनल एंड द एक्सपीरियंशियल पाथ जो फ्रॉम आउटसाइड इन जो जर्नी है हठ योग का, उसके बारे में हमें साइंटिफिक नॉलेज दिया. She has enlightened us with many things. So we hope in future she will be available to us for further sessions and further guidance. We look forward to her benevolent services to IAYT also. And really we are really glad to have you in this lecture, because see the way scientific aspects are explored in Hatha Yoga by Saiter. I always say Saiter as School of Yoga, yoga school. Huh?
Yoga therapy, School of Yoga Therapy.
School of Yoga Therapy. So School of Yoga Therapy, which was Saiter earlier. So I always speak by Saiter. So whatever enlightenment are there scientifically presented by Saiter is really wonderful, and and we complement each other. See, we are looking from inside out, and this Hatha Yoga looks in the way of outside in. So how to apply the Chitta Vritti Nirodha from outside in right, is through Hatha Yoga, and through Tapa we are approaching inside out approach. So both the ways we can approach your chitta, because chitta is expressive both the ways, right? It receives the information and reiterates the information to the execution level, and that whatever we execute, it is reiterated as a coding, and the coding is decoded again. So vritti is like this, right? Cyclic way. So cyclic way of expression is called chitta vritti. So the one way was taken in consideration from by me till today. The other way was missing, so I approached Minaji to have this outside in approach through Hatha Yoga. How we can combine both of them to fulfill the full aspect, complete aspect of yoga. Because yoga is not from one side out, inside out, or outside in. It should be from both the sides, achar and vichar, right? See, at theoretical level or from inside also we have to execute yoga, and from outside in we have to execute yoga. जब तक हम बाहर से अंदर की तरफ का योग नहीं करेंगे या अंदर से बाहर की तरफ का योग नहीं करेंगे, तब तक पूर्ण योग नहीं होगा, तब तक अधूरा योग होगा. इसीलिए हठ योग में कहा है कि ये राजयोग के मार्ग में जाने का एक स्टेपिंग स्टोन है, right? Outside in approach cultivates the inside out approach, and outside inside out approach is the final stage, because the chitta vritti is finalized at a particular state where your discernment, your vivek is completely evolving, right? So upregulatory. So your vivek has to be upregulatory by both the ways. जब तक आचार में नहीं आता है तब तक विचार का कोई महत्व नहीं है. जब तक व्यवहार में नहीं आता है तब तक उसका कोई मूल्य नहीं है. सो योग हैज टू बी देयर इन आचार विचार, आहार, विहार और व्यवहार. All these aspects should be covered together. So achar is something we have to execute, right? And which is coming from within, right? Yeah. So execution of our vichara in a scientific manner, in a discerning manner, right? And execution of our own efforts from inside out through tapas is also the same way working on chitta, and thus the chitta vritti are completely balanced. Chitta vritti can be balanced when it is approached from both the ways. See, it cannot be completely silent. How many of you have seen Hatha yogis becoming the real yogis, transformed yogis? So Hatha yoga is the stepping stone to Raj yoga, right? So you have to approach scientifically, as Minaji has taught us, right? From outside in, and then we have to progress from inside out again to approach to have proper discernment, right? So this is the way. हम लोग इस तरह से अगर सोचेंगे कि हम शुरुआत में तो किसी को बाहर से हठ योग करा के उसका न्यूरो एंडोक्राइन सिस्टम, न्यूरोमस्कुलर सिस्टम, राइट, उसके जो कोहेसिव एग्जीक्यूशन ऑफ लाइफ है उसको हम बाहर से अप्रोच करते हैं, राइट? तो जो अप्रोच करेंगे वो चित्त पर प्रकाशित होगा, तो चित्त उस तरह एनकोड करेगा. अब उसको एनकोड करेगा तब वो एक्सपीरियंस करेगा कि दिस इज राइट, दिस इज रॉन्ग. सो डिसर्नमेंट कब आएगा? कि जब वो एक्सपीरियंस करेगा व्हाट इज राइट, व्हाट इज रॉन्ग, राइट? और फिर वो डिसर्नमेंट के साथ हम इनसाइड आउट अप्रोच करेंगे तपश्चर्या के द्वारा. जो हम नहीं है, जो हमारा खुद का नहीं है, उसको हम एलिमिनेट करते हैं, राइट? वी एलिमिनेट all those chitta vrittis which are not, which doesn't belong to us. So then tapa का महत्व आ जाता है. तो पहले महर्षि पतंजलि ने अष्टांग योग का वर्णन किया है और उसके बाद में तप स्वाध्याय ईश्वर प्रणिधान का वर्णन किया है, राइट? तब स्वाध्याय ईश्वर प्रणिधान तभी सिद्ध हो सकता है जब इंसान का शरीर, मन और इंद्रियां उसके काबू में हो, राइट? उसके खुद के कंट्रोल में हो. और मीना जी ने बहुत अच्छे तरह से एक्सप्लेन किया ये बात कि आपका जो कंट्रोल लाना है आपकी चित्तवृत्तियों पर बाहर से अंदर की तरफ, वो हठ योग पूरी तरह से एग्जीक्यूट कराता है. और हर एक व्यक्ति को जो आपके पास आता है वो एक ही एक्सपेक्टेशन होता है कि आप उसको कुछ ऐसा कराओ, कर्म कराओ जिससे उसको लगे कि वो कुछ कर रहा है. आप उसको बोल दोगे एक जगह बैठ जा और आंखें बंद करके प्राणायाम अपने आप हो जाएगा, प्रत्याहार. ये अप्रोच कब आएगा? जब हम आउटसाइड इन डिसर्नमेंट लाएंगे, विवेक लाएंगे, राइट? और तब जाके आपका तप स्वाध्याय ईश्वर प्रणिधान एग्जीक्यूट होगा. तब तक वो नहीं होगा. कोई भी इंसान जो है उसकी एक लायकात होनी चाहिए, एक अधिकार होना चाहिए जो इनसाइड आउट अप्रोच हम सीख रहे हैं उसका अधिकार हठ योग से प्राप्त होता है। तो बहुत सारे ऐसे पेशेंट आएंगे जो आपके शवासन को महत्व नहीं देंगे, ध्यान को महत्व नहीं देंगे। वो बोलेंगे हमें कुछ कराओ, आसन कराओ, क्रिया कराओ, षटकर्म कराओ, कुछ भी कराओ, लेकिन कुछ कराओ। क्योंकि साइकोलॉजिकली दे आर बाउंड टू लिव एक्सपीरियंशियली, मतलब बाहर से वो जीने के लिए आदि हो चुके हैं। वो अंदर से कभी जीते ही नहीं है। कभी हमने सोचा ही नहीं है कि हम भगवान ने हमारा मुंह ऐसे यहाँ क्यों दिया है, नाक यहाँ क्यों दिया है, आंख यहाँ क्यों दिया है, हम नहीं समझते। हमें अंदर से भी बाहर आने के लिए बाहर से अंदर पहले जाना पड़ेगा। तो पानी के अंदर अगर मोती ढूंढना है तो बाहर से पानी के अंदर कुदी लगानी पड़ेगी। अंदर कुदी लगाने के बाद में जो आपको तैरना आता है तो वो तपश्चर्या हो जाएगा, फिर आप वहां पर से मोती निकाल पाओगे। तो आपका कूदना जरूरी है। तो हठ योग क्या कराता है, आपको उस पर कूदाता है, राइट। फिर आपकी जो इनसाइड आउट एफर्ट है वो आती है, आप नीचे जाके मोती लेके बाहर आते हो, राइट। So this way we should execute the outside in and inside out approach in our life to make it a complete aspect of yoga, right। योग का पूर्ण परिमाण होगा तभी जब हम दोनों एस्पेक्ट को एक साथ जोड़ेंगे, एक साथ एग्जीक्यूट करेंगे, राइट। नहीं तो हठयोग, अकेला हठयोग करने से आपको राजयोग की प्राप्ति नहीं होगी, इनसाइड आउट एस्पेक्ट नहीं कंप्लीट होगा। और अकेला इनसाइड आउट करने के लिए आपको बहुत डिसर्नमेंट चाहिए, बहुत विवेक चाहिए, वो नहीं आएगा, right। So both the ways we have to approach, and this is the way Maharishi Patanjali has told कि इसमें हर एक एस्पेक्ट में समापत्ति लाओ। समापत्ति, सम आपत्ति मतलब is a status of epigene which is balanced, completely balanced, right। एपिजीन ना तो आउटसाइड इन को महत्व दे रहा है ना इनसाइड आउट को महत्व दे रहा है। जब वो जीनोमिक स्टेट में आ जाता है, जो ओरिजिनल स्टेट में आ जाता है, 100 रुपये ओरिजिनल स्टेट में आता है, तब ना आउटसाइड इन एग्जीक्यूट करता है, ना इनसाइड आउट एग्जीक्यूट करता है। तब जाके उसमें ऑटोफजी होती है, तब जाके तप्पा होता है, और उसके बाद में वो एपिजीन जो है रिप्रोग्राम होके एक दैवी जीवन के लिए आपको तैयार करता है। So very good explanation by Meena ji. I'm very much thankful again from IAYT and my students also. Please, you can thank her. Yes, right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was
Namaste.
very informative.
Thank you. Thank you.
We would love to learn more from you, ma'am.
Any other day, certainly. We
Yes,
will
yes.
Definitely, definitely.
Please give us this benefit. Huh?
Yeah.
We are
Yes.
looking forward. We are looking forward for your future sessions.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. We will do it. Thank you, Ji. Good night. Om Shanti.
To all, Om Shanti. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Gurudevo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Para Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Namevavashishyate. ओम शांति शांति शांति। विश्व का कल्याण हो, सभी कर्तव्य परायण हो, परस्पर प्रेम भाव हो। नारायण नारायण नारायण।